Hey everyone, Ann O'Connell with OC Publishing here, and welcome to WIP Tips, helpful hints for your work in progress. I hope that wherever you find yourself today, that you're having a great one. It is right now in this moment as we tape this episode, go live to tape with this episode. It is March 31st, but it's still cold. So I still have my nice cozy sweater on, and it's been snowing a little bit. But that's okay. Hopefully that means that you're hunkered down and you're writing away and you're working on your next great novel. So today's episode is about writing aid tools. And I usually like to talk about the things that I find helpful for myself in my own writing process, but I also like to add other types of resources that other people have found helpful. So recently, I was having a conversation with one of my writing friends who said that they had discovered the depth of ProWritingAid. So that's one that I've explored just a little bit, but not in depth. Another one that I want to talk about is AutoCrit. And then the third one that I want to just mention is Grammarly. Now, there are a huge number of references and resources, and writing aids that are available, but you don't want to get too bogged down in it. And to share again from my perspective, I'm kind of old fashioned. So I just like to use, I might use spell check and, grammar check right in Microsoft Word. But generally speaking, I like to think that as I progress through each draft of my work in progress, that I'm going to catch a lot of the things that these writing aids tend to catch. And they are never a replacement for a professional editor. I will say that. But it's good to have if you're a little unsure, or it might give you, if you're a new writer, it might give you a little bit of encouragement. But I also sort of warn people and suggest not to take everything too seriously or too hard, because it is still just a computer. It's not a human being. So any kind of software or artificial intelligence, for example, still isn't a human being looking and feeling and experiencing. So I'm just going to bring up a few screenshots here to show you the resources that I'm talking about. And um, what it has, what I have here is I've used my own project, my current work in progress, as an example. And the first thing that we'll talk about just briefly is ProWritingAid. This it has a free option, which is the one that I'm showing here, and which is usually enough. So again, it all depends on your level of comfort and what works for you, because there are so many resources out there. You could get lost down so many rabbit holes, but finding one that is comfortable and works for you is great. And having this kind of feedback as you're working on your novel can be very helpful. So this is just the opening screen after I've signed in to ProWritingAid, and there's a button there that just has an upload. It's an upload option, and you can upload your entire manuscript, which I wouldn't really recommend, or a chapter at a time, just to see how you're progressing. And I would never suggest doing this after you're finished your first draft, because like I said, when you go back to review it again, you're going to catch a lot of the things that a tool like this is going to point out to you. And I'll show you exactly what I mean, because I have uploaded. I'm on the first draft of my new novel, and I've uploaded the first chapter here. And, it gives you a lot of great feedback. But again, don't take it too seriously because it will catch things that you likely would have caught as well. And sometimes it points out things that aren't incorrect. So one of the things that I wanted to show is it can also pull up articles that will give you some insight into, how do you fix grammar mistakes, for example, in your writing. So it's very useful. It goes a bit deeper, and you can see all of the options on the navigation bar. And there's so many different. I'm going to change my glasses here. Options that you could never try them all. It's just not not possible in one sitting, and in one quick whip tip. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about here is if it catches something grammar wise, in dialogue, for example, that might not be grammatically correct, but is true to the character. It's not incorrect in your manuscript, in the narrative of your manuscript. So you want to make sure that you don't make change, like arbitrarily or in general just say accept all changes, because that is not necessarily. You have to be active in the editing process of your work. Again, in ProWritingAid, there's so many different filters that you can run your chapter, your paragraph, your manuscript through several chapters, that will catch cliches, for example. If you've overused, I was over the moon to describe being excited. And this is also an example where they highlighted in this particular chapter of my book that a bit longer might consider deleting it. But the next line down, if I hadn't put a bit longer, then, and it says she kept her finger on the button, she would still be holding her finger on the button rather than pushing the button again. So it has to make sense in the flow of your narrative. So just really take in what is helpful, but discard what isn't. Then moving on to Grammarly, one of the things that I was really pleased about was, that in a first draft, it says 77 out of 100, so which is higher than I would have expected, because when you're writing your first draft, you're just typing furiously, and you may not, be paying a whole lot of attention. And one of the typos that it picked up was, he looked in the rear view mirror, but I wrote review. So I'm kind of assuming that it might have been an autocorrect, but I know that in the next round of edits, I probably would have caught that. But if not, maybe the third, or my editor would catch that. AutoCrit, when I was using AutoCrit many years ago, when it first came out, it wasn't quite as sophisticated as it is now. But I found that it overcorrected. But again, that is a good example of why you have to be actively involved in your, even when you're using these tools. You can't trust them 100%. But what I understand about AutoCrit now is that it's multi-layered, and it even helps you, to develop your story ideas as well. And I know that ChatGPT does the same thing, but you have to guard against allowing AI to do the writing for you. You can use it to assist in your writing, but to be really true and authentic as an author, these are just aids. They're assistive tools. They're not something that you want to use instead of your own brain and your own imagination. So just in summary, some writing tools to check out so you don't get bogged down in checking out too many. I've just outlined very briefly 3 here to have a look at and see what might be helpful. Or, like I said, for me, just, trusting yourself, you know, do some self-editing, read books on how to self-edit. But the 3 that I would recommend having a look at: ProWritingAid, AutoCrit, and Grammarly. And all of them are kind of a form of AI, but they assist you in finding potential issues and giving suggestions. They don't actually do the writing for you. And some of them that have become more comprehensive also help you kind of map out your writing journey. And as I said in the very beginning, none of these writing tools can replace a professional editor, but they can help you write and self-edit multiple drafts before handing it off to your editor. So I hope that was a bit helpful today, with a WIP tip, helpful hints for your work in progress on writing aids such as ProWritingAid, AutoCrit, and Grammarly. I'm Anne O'Connell with OC Publishing, and I hope you're having a great day, and we'll be back next week with the author journey and another wonderful interview with an author or industry professional. So I'll say goodbye for now, and happy writing. And if you have used any of these tools, make sure you drop a comment about how you're finding them, or if you use a different tool, why don't you just add that as well. So I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.